all of you, and I only know one or two people on the. I know Kirsten, and I know my sponsor Ruth is here as well, um, and uh, I met Kirsten. I used to work the phones at the office. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Myra. How do we start there? Okay, there we go. And my home group is Midtown Group here in downtown Toronto. We meet on Sunday night for our open meeting and Monday night for our closed meeting. Closed to step discussion meeting, sometimes a tradition. And we have a newcomer room from people that are really come from the treatment centers that are close by. And usually they're down from the territories, from Northwest Territories. The government has a plan. So a bunch of gals come down from Northwest Territories, which is really cool. But I remember coming back from my shift, doing 5 to 7 phones at 2:34 every other Friday for I don't know how long. And I didn't know Kirsten at that point, but I knew she must have been going to 234, our intergroup office, to do whatever she was doing. So our paths crossed a lot, at least every other Friday, that I'm fully aware of, and throughout our time in sobriety in Toronto as well. So I'm delighted to be here, I think. It's always a little nerve-wracking to step in front of a group of people, even though it's like Hollywood Squares. But let me start with, I love the big book. I've always been a real strong mm, follower of the book, and because when I first came to meetings, for a good long while, I never heard about the big book. And then one night, this guy from the Pine Hills group, he was talking about the big book, and he was spitting like he was a Shakespearean actor, and he had the big book in his hand, and he kept holding it up in the air and go, "The answers are in the book. They're in the book." Whoa, there are instructions for this, because the 12 steps are up on the wall, the 12 traditions are up on the wall. I'm a fast reader. Is this all you got? I mean, just show up, sit in a chair, blah blah blah. And I didn't drink, but when he mentioned that big book, I went and got one, and I read a paragraph a day, and that's how I went through it, because I was going to school at the time as well. So often what I'm talking about, you'll hear they're just right, the lines from the big book. And so like I know each day, everywhere, somewhere in the world, recovery begins when one alcoholic shares with another the experience, strength, and hope. And that's what I'm going to try and do tonight. And if I don't help you, I will definitely help me. And helping others is the foundation of our recovery. It always has been. The foundation stone is that keystone in a building. And my first sponsor, Ruby, we told me that I had to get involved in service. Like, I'm busy. I'm really busy. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to reach out. I didn't want to stand on the door. But this is how the foundation of how I've continued to stay sober. And when I go to meetings and I hear people coming in and out, and always slipping, people slipping, I think, "Oh, thanks for doing that for me, because I don't want to live like that." But many can recover if they have the opportunity that we had. I drive a school bus, and we have people unhousable in our streets, and there's a couple places where the heat comes out of the sidewalk from the heating underneath the buildings and so on, and they're there. And I pull up right beside them, and my heart breaks. And I don't know if they're one of us, but um, they start with their pipes and everything, so they're not drinking beer, but that always helps, right? And so they could recover if they had the opportunity we had, and I just pray over them. I put my hands out there and I pray over them. But this is a design for living that really works. My design did not work. I took a drink at the age of 13, and I found that that was really good for me. It changed everything. Um, People just came home, so they can't see you. You can see that going back and forth behind me, but it's a simple program. And the design for living I had from that first drink was the design for living that I took on for the next 20 years. I drank because I liked the effect. My first drink was a whole fifth of Old Grandad. I grew up outside Philadelphia, and my boyfriend at the time. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Myra, for some reason you muted, but
Yeah, I know. I just have to. My roommate has come home, and I need to just move a little bit because it's disturbing. Anyway, that first drink, whole fifth of Old Grandad, I like to drink like that. I like to drink with people who drank like that. And for the next 20 years, I drank like that. And it never got better. It didn't get better. It got worse with every single drink I took. I liked beer. You probably can't see me now. I'm sorry for the interruptions. It's not usually like this. That's better. My apologies. Make up for it. Um, at that time in my life, there was a lot of outside issues around, and so I tried them. I liked them. If I could get really drunk and stay up for a couple of days on outside issues, then I did. I used it, and uh, I could never differentiate what was true from false. I didn't grow up in a house where that was present. There was no my father's an alcoholic, but he never drank at home. His disease was how we adapted to that behavior. And so I knew what was wrong and I knew what was right, but I didn't care because drinking and hanging around with the people I hung around with was much more interesting. Growing up around in those early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, it was tune in, turn on, drop out. And I took it quite seriously. We all did, went to big ass rock concerts where people were doing all the same stuff. But it's a truly, clearly a demonstration of self-will run riot. I didn't have to live like that, but really, I was just giving the single digit salute to anything and everything because this was more important. And I know, looking backward, surely I was wrong. Absolutely, surely I was wrong. But surely other people were more at fault. My dad's the alcoholic, and if he didn't do this, then we would have been in a different economic background and wouldn't have grown up in that neighborhood or society. I do pick up the mantle of patriarchy and all that stuff just because it was cool or capitalism. It just, these are cool things to get behind. And so I would use them as reasons for drink and behaving the way I did. My children's father, I was a single mom. My first child at 19. By 21, I had two. And their father was a career criminal. And I thought that was very cool. And that's totally sick. I really thought that was really cool. He had tattoos from here to there before they were cool. Spent a lot of time in institutions, and I had no idea about that. I mean, but, you sort of get busted and we go to court for something, and the crown attorney is reading all these things. And then there's this, and there's this, and I'm thinking, going, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, how do I get out of this now? How do I get out of this now? I have two children. I have no high school education. I don't know what to do. I live in poverty and I'm just scraping the bottom and thinking I'm getting by because I'm cheating the welfare system. Um, and at one point, I really needed to go underground because my children's father, was uh, very violent, and wherever I was, he could find me. And I had to go underground and live differently. But we alcoholics, like our book says, have to be pretty badly mangled before I begin to solve our problems. Surely I can't live on welfare for the rest of my life. Surely I can't treat my children like this and drag them from one apartment to another or one city to another. Because I thought, if I don't like it here, I could go to Fort Lauderdale. No, I don't want to go to Fort Lauderdale. I come back to Toronto. Oh, I go live in Calgary. Guess what? Let's go live down east in New Brunswick. And so dragging them around and thinking I'm showing them around and it's so diluted. It's so demented, and I could never see that. So I had to be pretty badly mangled before I walked into rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Dropped out of school, so I had no education and I didn't want to work because a check came in the mail. And they provided for my health and my dental and sometimes furniture and stuff. And so it was an easy out, but very demoralizing, and I didn't care. So I would drink. I lived in an apartment at the end of my drinking where the cockroaches were walking off for the bananas. I remember coming in one day and thinking, what is going on there? Ah! And just throw it in the garbage and continue on. The tiles are falling off the bathroom wall. I can't look in I can't really see in the mirror because the silver oxide is gone, and there's not much in the refrigerator. And this was bringing me to my bottom. I couldn't leave it alone, but I didn't want to. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. I remember trying often to do that, and but I needed to be in that place of collapse and despair. There was nothing left, and I had tried to go back to school, but I couldn't keep it up. Um, I rem the one of the last nights of my drinking, we were up for a couple of days, and I needed to find something to even out so I wouldn't end up in the psych ward. And I remember crawling around, rooting around in the shoes in my mother's closet. She hid the bottle of vodka from my brother, and she had bifold mirrors, and I saw myself, sunken eyes. I mean, a really pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization. It's beautiful the way our book articulates our disease, and that was pretty much close to the end of my drinking. I called Alcoholics Anonymous, and someone answered the phone, and I said that I had this friend who, really wanted to stop drinking, and they were really nice, and they said, well, you could go to this meeting. And I went to that meeting, and the irony was lost on me at this point, but I had a yellow T-shirt on and it said Speedo. I was a swimmer. I swam. I mean, I was an adult long. I mean, I swam laps when I could, and bright red pants, kind of like Ruth's uh, cloak on her tonight. And so I think they offered me a half a cup of coffee. I said, I actually need a Librium or something. And I don't ever forget it because it was a horrible meeting. I didn't identify with anybody or anything in that meeting. The guy who was speaking was really like one of the guys from the hotel. Drop the tray, Ralph. And big belly and talking these war stories and stuff. Oh my God, I don't belong here. But as you all well know, the laughter when we walk towards a meeting, people outside smoking and they're giggling and laughing and telling stories and in the room, and nobody asked me for my phone number like on the back of a matchbook. They asked me to keep coming back, and nobody had done that for a very long time. And so I had powerful reasons for faith, powerful reasons that this might work. And I think I needed to be really brought to my knees before I would really pick up that spiritual toolkit at my feet. As our book does say, rarely have we seen a person fail who's thoroughly followed our path. But I would come to meetings late, leave early, would watch that seventh tradition going by, and we've gone to dollar coins and $2 coins here in Canada, but in those days it was a paper seventh. And I heard, and somebody confirmed this for me not too long ago, that if you have it, put it in. If you don't, you can take it out. I heard it. And they went, yeah, 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 yeah. I never took it out. I'm a thief. And there's something about that. I didn't feel it was right to be taking it out of there, even though I could have, because I had no money. I lived on welfare. I had no food in the fridge, not much anyway. And there was no way to be. Anyway, and so I started coming to meetings. And yeah, my first sponsor, Ruby, was there, and she'd be smoking cigarettes and long nails before long nails were cool. And every single charm, every single piece of jewelry she had in her jewelry box she used to wear, all her rings, all her bracelets, earrings before we do all of that stuff, and necklaces and stuff, and white patent leather go-go boots and with a short skirt. And I was going, holy crap. And if you want what we have, she would come in and go, whoa, girl. I asked her to be my sponsor, and it was wonderful because she was a 1, 2, 3 gal. She had newcomers on her arm all the time. She called it a Korean Cadillac when she got one of those brand new cars, and she'd have the car full of gals going to meetings. And I met her at meetings, but I didn't go in her car with her. But she would tell me that I needed to get active in service. So, now you're really asking a lot. But she also used to tell me all the time I saw her, you got to write this down, dear. I didn't know what she was talking about. And I went to a meeting on Tuesday nights where at the bottom of the stairs, the guy would say, hey, Myra, you get down to causes and conditions yet? And I went, I'll give you causes and conditions every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night. And with him and Ruby telling me to write it down, I finally had an opportunity to do what we're supposed to do. That if I want to be rid of this self-centeredness, it's because it's going to kill me. Then I have have to clean house and have little permanent effect if I don't. So I took all that as gospel. I resigned from the debating society. I did not quibble with what was told to me. And reading that book one paragraph at a time, I could remember it because we didn't have daily reflections and all these books. I mean, we had the ODAT. No, that's on the Al-Anon side, the little black book, right? That's all we had. And so the big book was my daily reader. And Oftentimes I think in meetings tell people like want to read the promises. I think stop because there's promises on almost every page in Alcoholics Anonymous, like after step 2 and after step 3, before we even get to step 9. So when people ask me if I want to read the promises, like no, or which ones would you like me to read? And they go, what's she talking about? But but little permanent effect unless we do this. And so I cleaned house and I realized about the instincts on the rampage that just galloped through everybody's life. It's Even today, it's kind of really humbling to think that I would think so much of myself that I could take hostages willingly or not, that I could make them hostages and make their life difficult. But Yeah, I cleaned house. My instincts on the rampage. I took my children to places they didn't need to go. I put them in situations they didn't need to be. I worried my family sick because there's nobody in my family acted like this. What happened to her? Um, Hanging around with bikers and bank robbers and just generally the finest lower companions and not paying any attention to it. So for me, cleaning house was really about looking in the mirror and go, oh boy, are you ever self-centered? Oh my God, are you selfish? I'm full of fear. I come out fighting. I come out literally fighting. It's East End of Toronto, East End on the Danforth. They're rowdy. They're pretty bad, and bikers they're not sweet unless they want something. So I was kind of rough, a lot of rough around the edges, and I needed to look at that and needed to make peace with it and have to understand that it's one thing to acknowledge that these things, and there's nobody to blame but me. Walking out of Ruby's apartment on my first ninth step, she says, "Are you willing to forgive these people?" I went, ah. Do I have to have this story again? I mean, didn't you hear what I was telling you? I mean, I was so cheeky, and she's smoking a cigarette. Are you? I was like, yes. And it took me a long time to forgive my father, and I really didn't need to forgive my father. I needed to ask forgiveness. And because I used to call him, everybody in my family called him the effing old man with great vigor. And it took me a long time to stop calling him my effing old man, but to call him my dad. And I can call him that today with loving kindness. He's an alcoholic. And because having the opportunity to carry the message into prisons over my sobriety and detoxes and so on, we don't make this choice to do this to people in our lives, and he didn't make that choice. You know, the disease took him. Um, and make peace with the Attorney General of Canada because in my in my travels, I got deported from Canada because I was a thief. I liked to just steal it just because I could, and you were foolish enough to let me, or not. And if I needed to make amends, I have over time. But the deportation order was quashed, and I couldn't be more glad about that. That's a long time ago. I don't know why that quashed, but I owed Canada everything, and I got a pardon for my offenses. So when I get asked at the border, when I'm asking, getting passports and visas to go, have you any indictable offenses for which you have not been pardoned? I say, no. And I kind of have this little, you only know uh, how wonderful this program is to allow me to say that with clarity and know that I don't have any desires to change, the date in which I decided to make that real for me and my family. But powerful reasons for faith. This program, but little permanent effect if I don't keep cleaning house. So I can do it once, but those things don't go away. They kind of lay there latent, waiting for you to be me to be foolish or lose my temper or not really continue to look a little bit more closely at what, there's this layer and then there's that layer and then there's other layers. I mean, my sobriety date is August 20th, 1988. And that's a little while ago. But this week I think I've been to three meetings. Today I've been to this is my second one today, plus, a big business meeting, plus fellowship with people. So I spent a lot of time with people in recovery because that's where I'm safe in the middle of us. And our book says if we overcome the spiritual malady, we straighten out mentally and physically. I know there's people in my world who probably argue with mentally and physically, but that's really important to like the guy coming out of the cellar. It doesn't look like anything's wrong here, Ma. There's a lot still to do. And there are promises after step 9, but after step 9, and they're not permanent. I need to continue to move through this book on a regular basis because the answers are there. And mentally and physically, I dropped out of high school. Couldn't put that together. Um, I went off welfare, and it was so scary. Getting sober, it seemed easier to stop taking from the purse of Canadians who worked really hard to hold me up. Um, I made managed the Attorney General of Canada. I've said that, but I got in the side door of the university. They have something here at the University of Toronto where you could be a mature student. It's like, oh, that's questionable, but going in as a mature student, and I got marks high enough to make me a full-time student at the University of Toronto, and so I have a couple of degrees. Um, a BA, an MA, a PhD. Like I can just pile it higher and deeper on just about any subject. I mean, an encyclopedia of useless information sometimes, but I say that and pinch me because it's really hard to look back to the woman, the girl who came into AA and the one who sits before you. Why I was given that blessing. I worked hard for it, but it's one that I need to continue polishing every day. Relationships and making the amends. I've made amends with my father. He, how much time do I got, Kirsten? I'm not watching my time.
And you have about another 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. I can be here all night for you guys, okay? And plug in my computer so you don't lose me. Um, my father called me out of the blue one day. I think I'm 12, 13 years sober, and I was underground because the kid's father was criminally insane. Underground for a long time until he passed away from the disease. My dad phoned me. It's like, mm, he says, Myra, please don't think so harshly of me. And I was mouthy, still mouthy. one, how do you know how I think about you? Two, where'd you get my phone number? And yeah, okay, I'll try. And I knew where he lived. He lived in the rescue mission in Trenton, New Jersey. We lived across the river, and so that was easy for him. He was a chemical engineer. My parents immigrated from Ireland to that area of the United States, and chemical engineer, and alcohol took it all away, took away the relationships of his children and all those families, and so I had a car, and for I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, every summer I went down. I drove to Trenton and bought him a cup of coffee, and he had a bowl of soup. We'd drive to Princeton, and I would pinch myself and go, "What are you doing this shit for?" But really had an opportunity to meet the man who was my dad as a person. And one day he said to me, "You don't know anything about alcoholics, so do you?" I said, yeah, you're sitting on my big book," because it was on the front seat. And, stopped away and he thought, "Oh, my name, they call me OD. It's a really good joke, huh?" Because our last name was O'Donohue before I changed it back to my mother's maiden name. I think, yeah, it's really funny, Dad. But I could say that. I could say that. And he'd show me pictures of my brothers and sisters. And because I'd been and done a lot of prison work. I mean, going to jail for 30 years and serving Alcoholics Anonymous outside my home group. I could just be with that person. And he died a couple of years later. His health wasn't that good. And at his funeral, he had paid for his funeral. He bought his cemetery plot. He had it all organized so nobody had to do anything. And he lived in the rescue mission. We don't have the rescue mission in Canada, but I think it's like Wendy's in the United States or something. You have them all across the United States, right? Um, and at the little soiree afterwards, they said people at the rescue mission said that was the happiest day of his life every year. I said, I didn't know that, and yet that small kindness changed me, right? So I can bring that kindness to those guys on the grate at the corner of Richmond and Victoria, as my dad was there once too. So, and he was terribly racist. Oh God. Um, and at his funeral, six really big African American guys were carrying they took over, and they cried the whole time saying this guy saved their lives, carrying the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. So, I don't have any amends that remain to be made today because I really pushed through really strongly to clear away the wreckage of the past, and I can get through that, the pardon old buildings eventually placed by finer ones, and my life today, it doesn't look like it used to. New structures are going to take a long time. I thought, geez, 1 year sober. Let's have a party. Everything's so cool. And realizing, lo, these many years later, there's still a lot of work to do because there's still work to do, even though I got this, right? But this is a precious, priceless, perishable gift. And that I know from doing the service work. I have to. It's not mine unless I insist on giving away the entire thing. The book says the entire thing, not just when I got a minute. I got time. You got a minute? You betcha I have a minute. Um, Maybe inconvenient, and if I deviate, the penalty will be sure and swift. And those are really strong promises that we don't really emphasize enough, I think. And I need to do that in my home group. I needed to do it with others. I became a trusted servant really early when Ruby said you need to get involved in service. I'm like, I don't do dishes. I'm busy. I'm going to school. I get the kids. But next thing you know, my hand is up and I'm active in my group, for my group, outside my group, in the general service structure. And wow, I would come there going, I don't know how this works, chief judge, jury, and executioner, where we argue about cookies. I was like, seriously? And then somebody asked me if I wanted to go to jail. I went, no. Everything in my head, my everything wanted to say no. My mouth said yes. And it's been the most rewarding service work outside my home group. All these many years later, kind of fell back after COVID, but this is the way in which this works for me. If I neglect those who are sick, I mean, at our district meeting the other night, and they're going to take their inventory, we're going to have a roundup, but we don't have anybody in the CPC chair or the PI chair or the corrections chair or the grapevine chair. I'm going, wait a minute, yo, we got to cycle back, and what's our primary purpose here? So I'll get off my soapbox now because I get really upset about it, especially when I see people lying on the grates. Um, yeah. So danger to my own life, my own safety, and be responsible. And so I love the traditions and reading tradition 9. It says that great suffering and great love are the only two disciplinarians alcoholics need. Great suffering brought me here into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Great suffering is the reason I picked up that spiritual toolkit. It wasn't because like, oh, I'm going to shine my halo. No, because I can't, the suffering is too great. And ultimately because I love the life that Alcoholics Anonymous has given to me. Bill's words are just so profound. So great suffering and great love. If I don't do the work, I will suffer and die. And so will others. And so I continue to do the work because I love this fellowship and my life in ways where um, inconceivable in my wildest dreams. And I'll just close with something out of I think it's in As Bill Sees It, that each of us weaves this protective mantle over our whole society, under which we work and grow together in unity. May it be so as long as our higher power wills it to be. Thanks for having me out here tonight, y'all.
Myra, thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing your story. And one of our principles is humility, and Myra is also really pretty terrific at that too. There's a lot more to the story that has not been told, and that includes service and accomplishments, world travels, and just a lot of sacrifice, not to mention physical illness and tremendous recovery. And this woman is inspiring, and I'm really glad that she agreed to come here tonight and meet all of you. And with that, the next thing that we do here is we have someone read from A Vision for You. And tonight, that's going to be Bernie, one of our friends. And then I'll announce the, oh, well, I can do this first. Oh, okay, good. Vision for You.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bernie.
I'm an alcoholic. My name is Bernie. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find, and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you.
Thanks very much, Bernie. And Karen, thanks for doing the screen sharing. As mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, this group also has a Tuesday night meeting, a speaker. And coming up, we've got Evan and Mike are speaking 20th and the 27th of January. And if you come back here next week, Naomi from Melbourne, Australia, will be sharing her experience, strength, and hope. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. We close with the Serenity prayer, and everyone's invited to unmute, and the chat is also open. Thanks again, Myra, for a beautiful message.
Yes, thank you.
Serenity prayer. God,
Grant me
Grant
the
me the
serenity
To
accept
accept
the
things
things
I
I
things I
cannot
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 change,
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 courage
to
courage
change
to
the
to
things
change
change
what
that
what
I
I
can,
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 and
wisdom to know the
wisdom
to
difference.
to
know
know
the
the
difference.
difference.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
everybody.
Thank you
Myra.
for your share.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Myra, for your share.
Appreciate
Thank you, Myra.
Beautiful story, Myra.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Just keep coming back and stay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruth, it's really nice to see you. Thank you, Myra. What a beautiful share. And
Thank you, Maire, for memories of 234.
Myra, we've got John first. I don't know if you can see him. He's here from the Hill Group, from Toronto Hill Group. With he's got like 50 something years. You probably recognize him. Maybe. Hi, John. Good to see you, friend.
Oh, John, yeah. I see him on Monday nights. Yeah. Doing the step discussion, step tradition study. Hey, John, how you doing? John's 63 years sober and 93.
Wow.
Just had a birthday.
Yeah. And Ruth is 52 and 92. My sponsor. Yeah. John and Ruth, long timers in the room.
Ashley, good to see you. It's been coming here for a couple of weeks now. Glad you keep finding us. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow, friends.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Myra.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you, Mark. I think your name was misspelled on our flyers. I'll have to fix that when we put together your speaker recording.
Thank you.
Lovely name.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen and Karen, for being of service.
Yes, and thank
We'll
you.
see you all Tuesday evening. Love and care about y'all.
Night, all.
Anything that you can do about it.
Right.
Thank you.
Good night,
Night,
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Good night, y'all. Good
We
night.
ended so early. Kirsten, may I read that old timers prayer or should I not?
Oh, I don't think you can do whatever you like, Betty, but
Would you prefer that I not? I don't know where it came from, but I think it's really, we've got a lot of old timers here. I won't read it. Thanks.
I am a newcomer and I would like to hear it if that's okay. Is that okay?
Okay, Ashley. I'm Betty and I'm an alcoholic. This
Okay.
is the old timers prayer, and we don't know who the author is. God, keep me from thinking I must share in every meeting, no matter the topic. Keep my mind free from the recital of endless details and give me wings to get to the point. Remind me to guard confidences and to keep still when I feel it is necessary to speak up for someone's own good. Release me from the need to straighten out everybody else's thinking and program. God, I ask for the grace to listen to newcomers. Please help me to remember the patience which with others listened to me when I was new. Please seal my lips to giving advice and help me to remember to share only my experience, strength, and hope. Remind me that my purpose is to fit myself to be of maximum service to you and to the people around me. Help me to remain teachable. Teach me again the lesson that occasionally it is possible that I may be wrong. And remind me, please, of the freedom that I gain when I am able to promptly admit I'm wrong and make amends when where necessary. Help me to remember the difference between making amends and just saying I'm sorry. Help me to be a worker among workers, a friend among friends, and please keep me from being a bleeding deacon and help me to walk the path toward being an elder statesman / stateswoman. Keep me ever mindful that I cannot manage my own life through my own unaided will. I know that I am not a saint. Please show me the way to seek you so that I may continue to grow along spiritual lines. Remind me, please, of Rule 62, not to take myself so damn seriously. It is so easy to take myself way too seriously. Keep me free of gossip, character assassination, and judgment. Remind me that because I'm not perfect, although I have humbly asked, my character defects and shortcomings still arise unexpectedly to cause damage to others and to myself. Help me to walk with faith and acceptance to see good things in unexpected places and talents in unexpected people, and give me the grace to tell them so. Help me to see that you love each of your children and that you do not need my opinion of them or suggestions on what they might deserve. Amen.
Amen. A nice long
Yeah,
prayer.
That's
thank
Thank
you.
you.
awesome.
Thank you for that share, Betty.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Betty.
All
Wonderful.
right.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty. It's good to hear that
Thank you for
again.
asking for it, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it with me. Thank you. Thank you.
Good reminders. Thanks, Betty.
And
Mm.
actually, when we chat, we'll go over some of the prayers that are in the big book too. Get familiar with those ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
Mm-hmm.
good ones.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That beautiful
Good night,
third
y'all.
step prayer, Ashley, you will love. It's right, it's right at the third step in the big book. Go
Thank,
look that third step prayer up, sweetie.
I'll look it up right now.
How
I
Okay.
it
will.
There you
works.
go. There you
Right
go.
after chapter 5. In chapter 5, how
Awesome.
it works.
You bet.
Yeah.
Night, night.
Okay.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, everybody.
I love finding
Good
those
to-
or those
Yeah.
promises. It's as though I've never seen them before. You know, every once in a while, one of them just jumps up at me, and it's like, oh yeah, that's another one of those gifts we get. It's wonderful
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
because the promises kept me coming back. When I was just a couple months sober, it was a Saturday afternoon, and I was either going to go to a meeting or go get some beer, and I was pretty sure that alcohol didn't have any meetings on Saturday afternoons, right? Well, I got sober in '80, so I remember what you're talking about in the olden days. And there was a women's meeting at the newly formed Women's Center at 2 o'clock that afternoon, and it was only 5 minutes from my house. So I go to the meeting, and here are these ladies, a couple of whom I'd met in meetings before, but they're sitting at this huge round table with a beautiful tablecloth that they had embroidered with all kinds of feminist sayings and stuff and AA slogans. And they sat me right down because they recognized me as someone who was not right there and handed me a copy of the promises to read. And it's the first time I'd ever really, really seen them, you know. And those ladies got me busy, boy. They were too old. They were about my age now. And, you know, they had me taking them to meetings and they had me showing up to make coffee and they saved my life. You know, those promises are just the most treasured part of my program. I'm so glad you talked about all of them.
I think their promises I think there are like 165 promises in the big book, but
Yeah,
each
they start
as
right
you
at the
read,
beginning.
you'll
They're right
find
there.
promises. They're the ninth step and the 10th step and the first,
Step
they're
1.
just read the
Step
steps
1.
and find the promise. There's
They're right
promise there.
there. I have little
Yep,
check marks all through my big book.
I do too.
If where you see if, that follows a promise follows.
Hmm.
If we do this, that will happen. If
So
Yep.
I
we
read the
don't,
book
if we're
just
not
marking
painstaking,
P for
yeah.
promises, and I didn't find all of them, but I found a lot.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Always,
Yep. Yep.
I always find it interesting to hear speakers that say they weren't introduced to the big book right away because that was first thing I did. Like I read the book while I was still drinking. And I think it's just a generational or, where I was situated that in 1997 in Toronto, the crowd I found myself in, they were big book readers. My sponsor, Heather Coutson,
Yes. Well, yeah. Of
and
course.
so right away I was
Yeah.
reading that book. And I'm
Bobby and Eddie and yeah, a whole bunch of people. Yep. Absolutely. That's it. Yep. Anyway, folks, is it okay if I sign off?
Oh,
That was a
brilliant.
beautiful
Yeah,
share.
that was
Thank you,
awesome.
Myra.
Thanks, Myra.
I'll
Meet
come
you.
back. I'll come back. Looks like a great meeting. Thanks for asking me, Kirsten. We'll stay in touch.
Okay,
We'll see you
Good night.
around, folks.
love you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Um,
So I'm thinking we could really use some more co-hosts. What do you think, Kirsten?
Pardon? Yeah, I just sent you a one woman named Gail. Yeah, so I sent you that information. But you know what? I think Michael is he's working tonight. Dan's busy with something. I texted Jay, but I hadn't heard back from him. So
Yeah, I have other ladies who volunteered too, and a couple of them have run meetings. So I'm going to see if I can't round up some co-hosts for both of us.
yeah, it worked
Sure.
out right. One story that Myra didn't tell, which is the one that hooked me, was I was about 3 or 4 years sober. So, you know, I'm a lawyer, right? That's my profession. And I'm shoplifting. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, and I'm sober and I'm sponsoring and I'm in service. And, you know, and I'm going to the grocery store. I buy my vegetables, I buy the cottage cheese and the eggs, but the Ben and Jerry's, I slip it in my bag and I don't pay for it. And Myra gets up to the podium and she talks about there I was all sober with my big black shoplifting bag. Honest to God, I thought, how did she know? How did she know? And it was just the identification. I was like, and that was it. I realized, you know, I gotta ask God for help with this.
Yep.
It was just so amazing that from her, you know, her lips to, I don't know, my actions right away. I was convicted, and yeah, it's so funny what I thought was okay that I could get away with in sobriety. You know?
Oh my God, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to be all holier than thou until I realized I had to be human too, you know? That perfectionism thing is big with me. I mean, I think I told you I had to get straight A's when I was a kid in school because that's how we got free baseball tickets.
Uh,
I couldn't afford them, and that I wanted to be memorize the big book so I could know how to say the right things, and I didn't realize that I was supposed to feel them and experience them and take them in. So today, the big book I was talking about the promises. The big book is like a revelation to me because I still see new things in there that had not hit me the same way.
right.
Rose, sure. Oh, Rosie, can't
Well,
hear us.
Rosie, we're actually at the end of the meeting. We're in fellowship, so I'm not sure why you can't hear anything, but uh, and I think we're about to close the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably at the close. But Karen, yeah, I understand, you know, to be sober but still being bigger than the rules, that was something that I did. And
Yeah.
you know, I got to give myself a pass on having clay feet and being teachable.
Yeah, exactly. We're human. We make mistakes. And sooner or later, if we keep our eyes open, God will put somebody in our path who goes, "Hey, wake up." Right?
Yeah. I got
Oh,
Betty calling me right now.
I gotta run too. Love you guys.
Okay, bye. Good night. Ashley, talk to you tomorrow. Yeah, step 3 prayer, chapter 5. All right.
Thank you. All right. Have a good
We'll
night.
talk about that tomorrow. Good night.
You got it.